Alkebulan invasion of Scipio Africanus. Note: Africa true name is Alkebulan. Publius Cornelius Scipio Africanus was a Roman general and statesman who was one of the main architects of Rome's victory against Carthage in the Second Punic War. Often regarded as one of the greatest military commanders and strategists of all time, his greatest military achievement was the defeat of Hannibal at the Battle of Zama in 202 BC. This victory in Africa earned him the honorific epithet Africanus, literally meaning the African, but meant to be understood as a conqueror of Africa. Scipio's conquest of Carthaginian Iberia culminated in the Battle of Ilipa in 206 BC against Hannibal's brother Mago Barca. Although considered a hero by the Roman people, primarily for his victories against Carthage, Scipio had many opponents, especially Cato the Elder, who hated him deeply. In 187 BC, he was tried in a show trial alongside his brother for bribes they supposedly received from the Seleucid king Antiochus III during the Roman-Seleucid War. Disillusioned by the ingratitude of his peers, Scipio left Rome and retired from public life at his villa in Laternum. Scipio was elected unanimously to the consulship of 205 BC amid much enthusiasm. He was 31 and still technically too young to be consul. When he entered into office, he demanded that the Senate assign him the province of Africa and threatened to take the matter to the popular assemblies if it refused to do so. Despite fierce opposition from the Princeps Senatus, Quintus Fabius Maximus Varicosus, the Senate bowed to his pressure and he received Sicily with permission to cross into Africa if he wished. Fabius' opposition may have been related to jealousy of Scipio's popularity, but also was likely informed by the failed African campaign. 255 BC under Marcus Atilius Regulus during the First Punic War, which saw the Carthaginians' war efforts renewed. The Senate, regardless, assigned Scipio no additional soldiers, leading him to recruit an army of volunteers. Livy reports that from his clients and supporters in Italy, he mustered some 30 warships and 7,000 men. He spent most of his consulship preparing his troops in Sicily for the invasion of Africa. He captured Locri on the toe of Italy that year and left one Plaminius in command there. After Plaminius assumed command, he robbed the city's temple and tortured and killed 2 military tribunes. For these crimes, the Senate had Plaminius placed under arrest. Scipio was also implicated, but was cleared the next year. Invasion of Africa. His imperium was prorogued into 205 BC, and in that year, he crossed with his men into Africa and besieged Utica before withdrawing and pretending in the winter to negotiate with the Carthaginians. During those pretended negotiations, Scipio mapped out the enemy camps and launched a night attack that was successful in destroying them and killing a large number of the enemy. The armies then fought in the Battle of the Great Plains sometime early in the new year. His imperium was prorogued until the war's completion, and after capturing Syphax of Numidia, restored Massinissa to the kingdom. The Carthaginians reacted to the defeat by recalling their generals Hannibal and Mago from Italy and launching their fleet against Scipio's to cut off their supply lines. Scipio was forced into a naval battle near Utica, but was able to avert disaster, losing only some 60 transport ships. Another set of peace negotiations occurred, with the Carthaginians eventually agreeing to abandon all territorial claims in the Mediterranean and beyond, limit her rights to expand in Africa, recognize Massiniss's kingdom, give up all but 20 of her ships, and pay a war indemnity. However, during the negotiations, the Carthaginians, suffering from starvation, attacked a Roman food convoy, leading to protests to be sent and envoys exchanged. Amid further attempts to remove him from command, one of the consuls of 203 BC, Gnaeus Servilius Scipio, attempted to substitute himself for Scipio to claim credit for the final blow against Carthage. The consuls of 202 BC coveted the African command for the same reason. Scipio refused peace terms at a parley with Hannibal in 202 BC. With the support of Massinissa's Numidian cavalry, the Battle of Zama was fought shortly after. The Romans won, and Carthage then again sued for peace. In the new year, 201 BC, Scipio remained in Africa to conclude negotiations, which saw Carthage's territory kept to the status quo ante bellum. Carthage restored to the Romans all captured goods and persons. Carthaginian disarmament of all but 10 triremes, and Carthage needing to ask for Roman permission to make any war. Maecenas' territory in Numidia was to be confirmed, and a war indemnity of 10,000 talents was to be paid over the next 50 years. Although the consul of 201 BC, Gnaeus Cornelius Lentulus attempted to oppose the peace so that he could continue the war in Scipio's place, the peace terms were ratified by the assembly in Rome, bringing the war to a final close.